here at Booktube. Welcome to my channel, Hamsavahini Vajra Astra. I'm Ohana. Today's video is about Victober, and this is the second video that I'm making on Victober. Now, Victober commenced from the 1st of October 2020 and will continue till the 31st of October 2020. This video has been brought about and hosted by Katie from Books and Things, Lucy from Lucy Reads, and Kate from Kate Howe. And I have posted a link to the announcement videos in the description box below. Now, today I'm going to talk about Lucy's challenge, which is to read a set of Victorian letters or to read a Victorian diary. Now for this I have chosen Aunt Epps' Guide for Life, which is a Victorian diary which has been written by Epps and compiled alphabetically. And the second work which I had chosen was Florence Nightingale's Cassandra, and this was an outcry against the forced idleness of British women. And there is a third letter. Now these two are diaries, of course. Now there's a third letter which I stumbled across later on, and that is the letters which have been written by W.S. Lambert, which gives us a glimpse of his naval career from a sea cadet onwards. So this is a bunch of letters which I stumbled across, and therefore I could not really put this, or you won't find this in my announcement video, not announcement, but in the video in which I share my books or my TBR. But because I have stumbled across it later on, so I have not completed it entirely, but I have read the first two sections according to his promotion in his naval career, but I will talk more about that later on in this video. Now, as you can see, I am just trying to portray the way women used to dress during the Victorian era when they were under the guidance of Florence Nightingale. Now, I know this is not even a near about look, but I have tried my best to put together whatever I can gather, and she is my inspiration for this particular ensemble of mine. So, the first fact that I'd like to mention over here is that there was a wide array of difference between the thoughts or the view of a Victorian women who used to lead a life which was centered around the domestic sphere, and those who wanted to be more creative in the pursuit of being contributive to the society. So after reading these two works, I have tried to pen down most of my thoughts in a few pages. Now you must be wondering what these candles are about, but this is of course in honor of the Lady of the Lamp, Florence Nightingale. Now the first book or the diary which I would like to discuss is Aunt Epps' Diary, which has been written by Epps during the Victorian era. Now this is a collection of everyday thoughts which have been put together in a diary, and is an amalgamation of the basic nitty-gritties required by any Victorian age woman whose future or current situation in life is to know the rule book of a Victorian domestic life. Now this book wisely gives the warning and the uses of certain trees in the garden to natural herbs and everyday remedies to cure and heal certain common ailments or to keep them away. Also, it gives the wisdom on a woman's way of life to society, marriage, gossip, childbirth, raising children, and much more. And there are also remedies and techniques of basic house maintenance, such as polishing silver to chimney basics. It also criticizes famous spinsters making a difference in a then men's domain. For example, Jane Austen and Florence Nightingale. And yes, I know this is something of a shock, but I did find that criticism in this very book, which I never knew. So I believe these two went very well together. Now, there were also recipes which I found, and remedies to preventing kitchen disasters, as well as to creating new kitchen dishes and basic household customs and beliefs. And these were all written as a mini encyclopedia for many women curious yet determined to run a proper Victorian home with efficiency and promising all the comforts of a good Victorian life. So these were some of the thoughts which I penned down after reading this, and as you can see, there's a lot that I did find over here. And the first aspect that I would like to share is the fact that the criticism or the critical eye with which Jane Austen's work and Florence Nightingale's views were, I would say, viewed in that sense. And when I say in that sense, from the point of view of a Victorian woman who was completely centered around domestic life. So I'm just going to read from this book, and it says, Miss Austen is devoid of imagination, for she writes with her head, not from her soul, and from relatively undisturbed routines of a family life. In this she is elegant, ironic and witty, writing excellent English, and the best that may be said of her in regards is that she is so much better than the tedious Mrs. Gaskell. But this is not enough. The best advice would be to spend your precious hours on neither, but to read the Brontes, who were considerably more confined than Miss Austen, but emancipated themselves by their imaginations, Emily especially, whereas Jane Austen merely played at living, as huge events raged around her, and the greatest man in Europe stood just across the English Channel, while she played spillikins and wrote about the concerns of a bored aristocratic society. So this is the view which Miss Elspeth Marr bore in her mind when she viewed or read Jane Austen's work. Now, these were some of the thoughts of a common Victorian women who were centered around domestic life. Now, there were a few words of wisdom as well, which she shared. And what I really found is there were some notes which were written on trees, and advice was given. For example, the tree elder. So it says, burn the elder, rule the day, one within will pass away. Do not use it for firewood. It is one of the poorest, and the old charcoal burners refused to burn it for its dark connections, nor would the old folk furnish a crib out of the elder wood, especially the rockers, for fear the infant would be rocked to death by the dark ones. When you slept, the old folk would never burn it inside the house for fear of death and the devil. Use nothing in your kitchen either that has been made with elder or that has elder in it, not as much as spurtle. If you want to avoid a scalding, the tree has been known to uproot itself and roam the country roads by night, hiding up lanes and killing folk, stone dead in their chairs and beds, by looking in at them through their windows, attracted only to those houses that contained elder somewhere within. Never put a lighted candle in a window where an elder grows outside nearby. These may be old superstitions, but why attract attention to yourself and put such things to test when there is no need? This was the tree, remember, on which Judas hung himself? And so it was cursed, yet it has a lovely fragrance and has been known to heal and protect, besides terrify and betray. A fickle tree, it is famous among men for its two wonderful wines, the dark port wine from the berries and the summer white from the flowers. When you pick the latter, however, you must do so in full light on a hot, dry day. So these are some of the thoughts which had been shared on the tree elder. So there was a warning, there were uses, and also there was a bit of folklore which was given. And I found this part, or these sort of information or tidbits which were given for the Victorian lady, very, very exciting. And there was also a note on elm. Elm was also another tree. So elmwood fire or elmwood flames are slow and cold. Elmwood burns like churchyard mold. The old saying is a true one, except that when well seasoned and all dried out, elm burns pretty well, but not when it is wet. Yet elm is eternal, underwater and is used for piles of river bridges and for keels of a ship. The inner bark you can eat when the tree is newly felled, and it is extremely effective in treating digestive disorders. Boil a handful of bark in a pint of water, strain, let cool, and drink morning and evening until the stomach settles. So these were a couple of very important folklore. I would say important, but I would say very interesting folklore, which I really found over here. And overall, there were some bits which I did not enjoy and I did find boring. There were some which were surprising, there were some which were filled with wisdom, and there were some which were hilarious. So these were some of my thoughts on Aunt Epps' diary. And with this, I would thank you for joining me today in this video, and hope you have a lovely reading week ahead, and namaste.